All right, today is December 19, 2024. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes Storage Special Interest Group. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and posted on YouTube. Today, we're going to go through the agenda. You can find the agenda doc on your calendar invite. Feel free to add items to it if there's anything you want the group to discuss. We're going to go through 132 planning doc. The 132 release went out this week. We just want to get an end of release update to see what made it in and what didn't. And then if there's any other items, we'll come back to them after that. So with that, I'll go ahead and switch over to the planning spreadsheet and get a end of release update for all of these items. We'll start with recovering from resize failure, move to beta. Do we have Hemant on the line? Anyone
We
else able to join?
don't, but the code that was in KK in 3 has been merged and released, documented. Hemant is fixing CI job failures and will release the resizer later.
Got it. Are we comfortable marking this as done, or should we keep it open and move it to the next release?
Oh, I will probably mark it as done.
Okay, we'll go ahead and mark this as done for now.
It will be done in Kubernetes 132 sidecar release, which is in the future.
Okay, I'll add that as
If this is done, we should have the beta to GA at some future release, right?
We should wait one release before beta and GA.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like we won't stop tracking this. There will be more tracking.
to get it to GA. That's right. Yeah, this is just for beta. Okay, thank you, Jan. Next, we have volume group snapshot. Xing?
Yeah, so this one, yeah, I think we can mark this one as done. So snapshotter sidecars released. Code is in. Blog is out.
Cool. Thank you, Xing. This one is done as well. Next, we have CSI volume health. Consider moving to beta. We're keeping it in alpha this cycle. Looks like the last update, we're going to move this to 133.
Right.
So I'm just going to mark that as move to 133, and we'll keep moving here. Next is CBT, change block tracking, alpha for this cycle. Any updates on this one?
This is still ongoing. I think, Ben, I think that PR on the...
Did it merge? Because we got LGTM and approved.
Yeah, I think it's merged. There's the implementation of this feature of this. It's like a sample implementation in the host path driver. I think that is merged.
Yeah, it got several reviews, and I finally did my review, and it's in good shape.
Cool. Is this sufficient to mark this as done for this cycle as alpha?
I think there are still a few things they need to cut a release. I think probably still need a little bit more time to wrap it up.
Got it. I'll leave that as started for now. Next is enable privileged containers for Windows to replace CSI proxy for Windows out of tree. This is alpha for this cycle. We had no update last few times. Any update this cycle?
I think there's still no update.
Okay. Go ahead and mark that as no update. Next, we have SE Linux relabeling using mount options for other access modes. We plan alpha changes in 132. This was already done, so actually I'll just skip over it. Next is volume attribute class, remain in beta, add quota support. And Any updates to this one?
Yeah, so I talked with Calorie. The blocker for GA is the quota design. So we might need another cap for this.
Got it. Okay. Is the beta, I guess this was remaining in beta, so is the adding quota support piece done? Do you know?
No, it's not done. We will need another cap to discuss and then implement that.
Yeah, last I heard from SIG APM Machinery is that they did not have the resources to work on the issue that was blocking Carlary's PR. I linked the issue in the chat.
Got it. Okay. Thank you both for the update on that. We'll keep it and move this to 133. Next, we have non-graceful node shutdown tests.
Yeah, the test PR is merged.
Perfect. Okay, marking this one as done.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, next we have CSI sidecar all-in-one. Anything new on this one? Seems like last status update was enhancement issue submitted, kept is a work in progress. I'm gonna mark this as no update and we'll move this to 132. All right, next item is remove dynamic provisioning support from host path in tree volume plugin, design only. Implementation was blocked on Portworx. Any updates on this one?
I don't think there's any update on this one, but Portworx is going to move their CSM migration to GA in 1.33.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that update. I'll leave it as is. Next, we have remove Git repo in tree plugin, announce official removal to allow deletion of code. So we got a lot of pushback from SIG architecture on this. They are not prepared to have us pull this yet. So I think this is still in discussion.
So now we have a new owner, right? Who's going to write a cap with the team.
Is it Chris or someone
It's
else?
not Chris, it's somebody else.
I
I
see.
think it's actually someone from Google, but he's probably in the SIG auth side.
I see.
He replied to Tim's pin. Tim is asking somebody to help him, so he said he will help.
Yeah, so it looks like we're probably going to keep this. And instead of removing, it'll be kind of maintenance. So we'll update this for the next cycle and move it. And the remaining items were previously dropped. So I think with that, we've got all the updates we need for this release. And I'll switch back to miscellaneous updates. Jonathan, Jan, you want to talk through this one?
Sure. Okay, I will start. So on KubeCon, we discussed we could be able to remove attach code from kubelet, which is there historically, because initially it was kubelet who was attaching volumes to nodes. Then we introduced attach controller and move most of the code there, but we still kept the capability in kubelet. There is some code for that. I think it is dead by now. There is a special command and parameter that, well, at least nobody in Red Hat uses. And all the attachable volumes were migrated to CSI. and that command line parameter or its config option documents that kubelet cannot attach CSI volumes. So I think all this code should be effectively dead.
Right, so you're talking about the code that actually does the attaches, not the kubelet code that interacts with CSI.
Yeah, just the volume attachment.
Okay, so we're going to keep the code that interacts with CSI inside kubelet, not try to move it somewhere. Okay, okay.
Just all the attachments will be initiated by attach detach controller only, and never by kubelet. So I looked at the deprecation policy. It seems we could deprecate it and remove it with 1 year deprecation period. Question is it a good idea? It will remove some code from kubelet that probably nobody ever used. This.
Does the flag default to disabled today?
Yeah, well, enabled control attach detach is true. So control attach detach is true by default. You need to explicitly disable.
If we deprecated it, we'd have to change it to false, and then leave it that way
controller,
for a while.
Control attach is enabled by default. So you need to change it to false, to non-default value, to get attachments done by kubelet.
So I see. You're saying we deprecate it and basically force it to be true forever.
Yeah.
So the question is anyone setting it to false? If we, well, how would we do that? Just remove the flag and see if anyone screams like that?
This needs to go through the official deprecation. So I guess some announce.
But I mean, at the end, the result is the flag goes away. So the question is, how do you find out if anyone cares before you actually take it out, right? Because it's already at the default value that we want it to be out forever. Because I like the idea of removing dead code, but yeah, the risk is that there's some strange use cases out there that we don't know about.
I would try feature gate, like write a cap or mini cap, announce deprecation, and have a feature gate. Go through alpha, beta, GA, which will roughly correspond to the deprecation period. And when it gets GA, it is enabled by default. The feature gate is enabled by default, and the command line option doesn't do anything. That would be my suggestion. I don't know how else we removed code from kubelet. The recent experience with Git volumes shows it's not that easy.
Well, a feature gate that goes through alpha, beta, GA is an extremely conservative way to remove it. So I can support that. I can support something more aggressive too.
We need to wait 1 year anyway.
This is similar to the force detach thing that we discussed earlier. Eventually, we said we can't remove that.
It's kind of similar. But in this case, in the volume attachment case, we are quite sure that nobody uses it. The code should be effectively really dead. Unless we missed some corner case somewhere.
But you mean you're quite sure no one's turning that flag to false? Because if they did, then the code would come back alive, right?
Yeah, but all the attachable volumes are CSI now. And kubelet cannot create volume attachments. And it is documented.
Yeah, but not the people part don't read documents, right?
In the default configuration, kubelet cannot create volume attachments.
If they use this, how do they even use this option? I guess so if they set this flag to be true, then do they have to manually create volume attachment for it to work, or?
I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. I think kubelet will try to create volume attachment and it will be denied. I
Oh,
could try.
does not have permission.
We could try.
I mean, the question is, what is the purpose of the command line option? Why would we ever set it to something other than the default? There has to have been a use case for someone at some time for it to have been
I think it
added.
was mostly just backwards compatibility because the original code was kubelet was doing the attaches. And then we wrote the attach detach controller, and for backwards compatibility, this option was added. If someone really didn't want the controllers to do attach detach, they could fall back to this option.
Oh, you're saying it's that old?
It's very, very, very old.
It's very old. Did we have use case for kubelet running without API server and attaching volumes?
I don't think there was a use case. I think it was mostly just if somebody had a backwards compatibility reason for some reason really didn't want the controllers to do it. It was mostly a kind of like let's give them a option to be able to fall back if they want to.
But what I'm hearing is this isn't tested. So even if you switch the flag to false and try to get the old behavior, it's very likely broken.
Yes, I think that sounds right.
Yeah, so
I would
if you
I
try
would go with the more
that,
aggressive removal if we're that sure.
so if you tried it, it's already broken, then probably we just remove it. If it does not work, if it still works, then we'll be a little bit more careful because somebody could be using it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So maybe let's actually go and test it. And if it is broken, then I think deprecation and then some fast track to removal makes sense. And if it does work, then we can follow Jan's proposal. So let's say
Okay.
if code is broken, if code works. So if code works, we'll do.
There is a possibility that kubelet doesn't have the RBAC permissions to create the volume attachments. And that could be the only problem. And somebody could add these RBAC rules manually to a cluster. And make it work. Will we still deprecate and remove it faster? So if somebody can hack Kubernetes using RBAC rules to make it working.
Yeah.
So is it still good for fast track or careful removal?
If that's the case, maybe let's come back and discuss in this group.
Okay.
We should look for some sort of precedent. Is there something similar where like there was a feature that only worked if you did some hacky stuff and we kept it around based on the theory that someone might be doing the hacky stuff?
I don't remember. Oh, Git volumes.
Yeah.
Those were disabled, I think. And they were deprecated.
Okay, so we will play with it more. Try to make it working. And if it's really broken, then remove it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jan. Xing, you want to talk through the next couple items?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so the Google Group mailing list is deprecated, so has been migrated to this Kubernetes managed mailing list, SIG storage at kubernetes.io. So moving forward, we'll be using this new mailing list. So all the emails that are on the old mailing list have already been automatically migrated to the new one.
What's the thinking behind the switch?
I think it's just that's managed by Kubernetes.
So just Kubernetes, the Kubernetes Foundation wants
But
more
I,
control or
but
something.
I don't know. This was just the
Yeah,
steering
I think that
committee.
sounds right, Ben. I think they want to move to Kubernetes IO mailing.
Right.
We
For the follow-on question is, are they doing like the calendars? Are they going to try to remove other
we need
resources?
we need to do those. So right now everything is moved to we need to update our calendar invite to use the new mailing list. So both will still be working for some time. But I think we're supposed to disable the old mailing list to stop adding new emails to it. So there are certain things so I need to do that. And then eventually we'll just get rid of the original one.
So I'll go ahead and add both mailing lists to the calendar invite. And this ties into the next update as well, which is our next scheduled meeting is on January 2. And based on our last meeting discussion, given that'll be holiday time, most people will be out. We're going to go ahead and shift that out to January 9. And that means that all subsequent meetings will be 2 weeks from January 9th. So there will be an updated schedule. Last time we did this type of shift, it resulted in a bunch of people missing the meeting. So I'll make sure to send out a notice to the mailing list to say that this is happening as well. So just a heads up to everyone, keep an eye on the calendar.
Lisa, do we need to have both mailing lists in the invite though? Because then everybody will get two messages.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they
a
will be
good
both.
point. I'm not sure. You tell me.
I was reading the steps and the steering committee gave us. They basically says just replace it with the new one. So
Okay, then I'll just go ahead and replace it.
okay.
Has everyone automatically been added to the new one?
Yeah, it's automatically moved.
Okay, so there's no risk of people missing a message.
Okay, I'll go ahead
But
and
if
make
we want,
that
if we want to send some announcement, maybe we can still use both for some time and then. But I think the calendar,
Good.
you don't want two entries in your calendar, I guess.
That makes sense. I'll go ahead and make sure the calendar only has one, and the announcement I'll send to both.
Okay. So one thing though, we actually have a few Google Groups mailing lists that we created ourselves. So those will still be googlegroups.com. I mean, we don't use those as
Like
often as
the leads group and stuff like that.
no, list group that's still
Oh, that's been migrated.
managed. Yeah. But I think we have a few for CSI implementation. I think we probably have a couple of those.
I see. So those probably need to be moved over as well.
No, they cannot move. Those are
Oh, I see.
because those are not managed by them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah, those are because I think we created them.
Right.
I think there was like some feature request, 6 feature. There are a few
I see.
that we create. So those will still be googlegroups.com.
Okay.
Because this mailing list, this will be in the 6.yaml. So only those are updated to this new Kubernetes.io.
Cool. That makes sense. Any questions or concerns on this topic or anything we discussed today, folks? Okay, we'll go ahead and end it here then. We'll see you in a few weeks. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Saad.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.